Outlouders, how are you doing? Like, really, how are you doing this week? Because it's the week before Christmas, and most likely you are busy making sure that everybody feels really, really magical. You're probably still at work. Maybe you're working out what to do with your kids if you have kids every day, because it's only week 1 or 2 of the longest holidays of the year. Yes. And you're still at work. You're also making sure that everyone in your family and your partner's family has something thoughtful, ethical, not too shabby under the tree. You're Googling what the hell you do with a ham. You're buying extra wrapping paper. You're making sure you've got Kris Kringle for all the kids' mates who might have given your kids a Kris Kringle. You're living in fear of turning up at someone's house to drop a kid off and someone gives you some chocolates or a candle, and then you're like, shit, I've got to get a chocolate or a candle. How many people are you going to have to cook for over the next 2 weeks, or how many houses you'll be visiting, with how many bottles of things or plates of food you've got to bring. You're thinking about carrots for the reindeer and where to put the elf and all that shit. The spirit of Christmas in most houses is a woman. A woman's work is the spirit of Christmas. Now,
preach, sister.
I know I sound like I'm whinging, and I love Christmas, right? And this is the bind that a lot of women are in. Because I love Christmas, and I have children, and I want their Christmas to be really special. I want their little smiles on Christmas morning. I want them to be happy with their presents. I want them to blah, blah, blah. But it is so much work. And every woman I know, in one way or another, is a shell. And it's not new. That's like this week in particular. It's not new. It happens every year. So my question is, what would happen if we all went on strike and ruined Christmas? Would it backfire on us?
Yes.
Because everyone would hate that we did. I was reading an article about how once the women of Iceland went on strike. I didn't actually know this. I bet you knew this, Jessie.
I actually didn't.
It's interesting
But
feminist
trust
history.
Iceland.
I know. Way back, this isn't to do with Christmas, but it's to do with the mental load, which is adjacent, obviously.
I love how it didn't occur to her that I might
Oh,
know
sorry.
that.
I was like,
You didn't,
did
did
you
you?
know that, Mia?
No.
Sorry, I didn't think you would, because I didn't.
I
you
didn't.
know. In Iceland, in 1975, so quite a long time ago, 90% of Icelandic women agreed to have a day's strike. It's called the Long Friday. And they just said, right, no working, cooking, cleaning, or performing childcare during this day. Many schools and nurseries had to close, forcing fathers to take their children to work. Banks, factories, and shops simply couldn't function. Even the next day's newspapers were shorter than usual. This is 1975, so quite a long time ago. And it reset gender politics in Iceland, that strike, apparently. And they were one of the first countries in Europe to have a female president. It really realigned gender politics there by paralysing the country for one day. Now,
Do you know why that could never happen here? Because influencers are arguing with each other, and then someone's, we're talking about Jeremy Clarkson, who's an idiot columnist in the UK. Like, there's not enough cohesion. Like, they didn't even have the internet in 1975, and they organised
90%.
a national strike of women. Well done,
I know.
Icelandic women.
So, Christmas, women's spirits, how do we solve this problem? Is a strike the answer, Jessie Stevens?
A strike is a very interesting idea. I reckon I was thinking about, I don't personally feel this load as someone without kids, and I was reading this article thinking, I should ask my mum if she needs a hand. Because I think she's overwhelmed. She's gone very quiet. And so I think that the labour is one thing, and then the other thing that I'm almost more terrified of is the pressure that women feel to ensure everyone has a great time.
Yeah.
So I feel
Because it's got to be magical.
Magical.
it has
Very
to be
important
magical.
family time.
It's not just the food, the presents, the logistics. It's almost like Boxing Day as a post-mortem where everyone goes, you know what? This wasn't ideal, and this wasn't like you actually get a report card.
It's like
every
a performance review
Yes,
on
the
Boxing Day.
of the person who did everything. And I was this is what I think women should do. I was at a dinner recently, and there's a big group of girls, and there's this one friend who is the glue, and she organises all the events, right?
Nicole.
The Nicole. And we went to this Christmas girls' dinner, and it was brilliant. And there were 15, 17 of us there. And she stood up halfway through and said, I love this. I love all you guys. I'm actually retiring. As the person in
That's
charge.
so interesting. And my Nicole's retired too at the end of this year. The Nicoles are having enough.
What's going on?
She stood up and she said, love this, love you. I'm actually putting it out there. By the end of tonight, there's going to be a new leader. I'll do a handover. I'm happy to do a handover. I'll give you all the numbers. But I'm not organising things anymore because I'm really tired. She did the same for the netball team.
This is so in my friend group. It's so funny because in my friend group, our organizer, our social glue, Penny, she has her New Year's resolution is she is going to stop organising the social events with a small addendum, which is unless I really, really want it.
You guys are screwed.
I know, and everybody in my friend group is panicking because they're all just saying, well, clearly this is our last Christmas.
I'll miss you guys.
We won't see each other next year. Like, that's it. So I recognise it's not all women, right? There are some more organised than others, but I don't know, like, if we hand it over to the either less Nicole-ish of us or in a heterosexual relationship, I know lots of women who go, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to buy your mother a present to their partner. I'm not going to buy you blah, blah. And then it doesn't happen and there are no good presents and there's no good food on Christmas Day, then that post-mortem on Boxing Day is not going to be good.
Yeah, but you're like, I'm not the CEO to speak to the CEO about it. Like, I reckon that you can stand up and retire, do your handover just like you would do at work, let everyone know who the boss is if they need to communicate, but you are on leave.
Well, I'm going the other way because I've never been the Nicole because I'm just not. Clearly, I've got no Nicole energy at all. But this year, after a few years of just things being a bit shit, my daughter has been like, I really want a proper family Christmas this year. Can we do something?
Because you guys are Jewish, and so there's a Christmas, like...
Well, no, my mum does it. Like, there gets to a certain age where you go, is it time for me to assume the generational Nicole in the family? Like, friend groups are different, but within the family, at what point do you step up and say, okay, I'm the adult now?
Just a note on Nicole's. So for new listeners, you might not be familiar. It's a term coined by the brilliant comedian Geraldine Hickey, who once did a comedy sketch where she said, perfectly identified that every friend group has the person who organises the WhatsApp group, who sends around the menu before you meet, who tells you where to park, who says what time you've got to be there, and that person is called a Nicole. So we always say, you know, every group has a Nicole, and we the three of us are not Nicoles. It has to be said.
And so you can have a Nicole within a family, you can have a Nicole within a relationship, you can have a Nicole at work, a Nicole in friendship groups. And so this year I have foolishly, for the first time in my life, said, I'll do Christmas. I've got 45 people coming to my house. I don't know how to cook.
What do you do?
I made a Google Doc and said everyone bring food.
Oh, great idea.
And yeah, Jace was a bit horrified by that, but I'm like, no, like I don't care. Like, I don't care. But I've got the tip. I'll let you know how it goes. Probably not well. I'll give you the biggest tip that's changed my Christmas. And it was something that my family started a lot of years ago. It's really simple. No presents for adults.
Yeah.
Only kids get presents. And suddenly,
we've done the same
buying
thing.
presents for little kids is easy. But buying presents for your brother-in-law,
it's really hard.
You can't. And it's hard, and there's too many, and then wrapping. So no adults. It's like, come on, we're all grown-ups.
Go buy yourself
buy yourself something that you want. You don't need something that you don't want. We don't need that. And I can't tell you how much that's changed things.
Yeah, that's a great
I feel a lot of pressure on the presents this year because when my kids were little, just the act of having presents was enough. It didn't really matter what they were. Like, so waking up in the morning, seeing the tree, seeing the presents under the tree was like, now Matilda is like sending me a PowerPoint presentation of like, I want these trainers, but they have to be these trainers.
But that's so easy. I find that so much more helpful than having to guess.
You know what I mean? She can't have all the things. There's like...
Do you still have to go through the Santa and the reindeers and the making it magical?
Well, the problem... Yes.
Oh, what's that noise? I think it's the reindeers on the roof.
Because what I realized, and here's a tip for young players, those of you who have got little kids and you're setting up your traditions. My kids are obviously too old these days to believe really in the elf on the shelf and that kind of stuff. But on December the 1st, when they woke up and the elf wasn't there, because I was like, surely.
Is this the first year that the elf wasn't there?
Well, the elf was not there on December the 1st, and they were both so upset, and I felt so guilty that I reinstated the elf. And I realized that it's not about the belief. It's that we've made that a family tradition now. I'll have to do the elf when they're 40. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a thing. So like on Christmas Eve, leaving out the carrot and the muffin and the beer, it's not about Santa. It's
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's become a tradition,
tradition.
that we have to do, which is beautiful. This is the tension.
So beautiful, Hol.
It's
Isn't it
beautiful.
beautiful?
Until you realise you've got no fucking carrots on Christmas Eve. Then it's not beautiful anymore. Actually, quick shameless plug on this though. If you, like me, are not organised and haven't done all your presents shopping, remember, you can always get someone a Mamamia subscription for Christmas. You actually really, really can. You can get a quick, I didn't have time to go to the shops present, $69. You give her a year of unlimited access to the best podcast stories and events. Buy the best gift there is. We will leave a link in the show notes.